Welcome to this recording from First Intuition. We're here to talk to you about apprenticeships, what they are, and how we work with employers to deliver the high quality programs that we do. We're focused on building relationships with our clients and students. As an owner-managed business, we pride ourselves on being agile and committed, and with over 12 years' experience in delivering accountancy and finance training, we consider ourselves experts in the field. You're in excellent hands here at First Intuition. Our class size is typically 15 to 20 students with a maximum of 35. We have great pass rates that consistently and significantly exceed institute averages, and our tutors give contact numbers and email addresses for study support at any time. Over the last few years, the government has shifted focus onto the skills development of the workforce of the future through apprenticeships. This has meant that both large and small businesses have access to government funds, enabling them to train their employees via the new apprenticeship standards. The Education Skills Funding Agency, ESFA, are responsible for the regulations around apprenticeship programs, and these are implemented by training providers and employer partners. The new apprenticeship standards have been written by industry professionals called trailblazer groups. They have come together to create authentic and fit-for-purpose training requirements that are needed in industry and in practice. These are called apprenticeship standards. Each apprenticeship standard can be found on the Institute for Apprenticeships website. The purpose of the apprenticeship is primarily to give individuals access to career development. The ESFA set the criteria for those who are and are not eligible to receive funding for the apprenticeship programme. An apprentice needs to be in a relevant job role and able to complete the apprenticeship within the time available. An apprentice needs to be a citizen of a country within the EEA or have the right to work and live in the UK and also have been a resident in the EEA for at least the previous 3 years. An apprentice can't currently be receiving any other government funding. An apprentice should have significant development requirements across the knowledge, skills and behaviours in the relevant apprenticeship standard. For example, you cannot have an individual who has been in an accounting or finance role for a number of years but who has not gained a professional qualification during that time on an apprenticeship, as they will be deemed to have the large majority of the accompanying skills and behaviours from the standard. However, an individual who is just starting their career as a school leaver or graduate, who has not yet worked in an accounting or finance role nor completed a professional qualification, would be an ideal candidate for the programme. Apprentices must also be able to evidence a minimum of a C grade in GCSE Maths and English. If they can't evidence this, they'll be expected to complete a Level 2 functional skills course as part of their apprenticeship. A commonly asked question from employers is, how is an apprenticeship similar or different to a non-apprenticeship? All apprentices will work towards the chosen professional qualification and become fully qualified upon successful completion of the programme. We offer the following qualifications as part of our apprenticeship programmes: AAT, ACCA, CIMA, ICAW, ATT and CTA. These qualifications can be included in the following apprenticeship standards: Level 3 Assistant Accountant, Level 4 Professional Accounting Taxation Technician, Level 7 Accounting Taxation Professional. Within the apprenticeship, apprentices don't only focus on the technical knowledge, they also work on developing skills and behaviours set by the relevant apprenticeship standard. In order to achieve the apprenticeship, the apprentice will also need to complete an endpoint assessment to show they have learned and applied the full range of knowledge, skills and behaviours required. The endpoint assessment will vary based on the apprenticeship chosen. On an apprenticeship, 20% of the apprentice's working time must be spent in training and development, such as professional qualification study, shadowing, mentoring, and technical training. There is less flexibility in the qualification pathways on an apprenticeship, as the apprentice has a fixed time to complete the programme. The duration will depend on the apprenticeship level. Employers who have an annual pay bill of 3 million or more will pay into the apprenticeship levy each month. They can then claim back those funds through their apprenticeship service account online in order to train their apprentices. Employers who do not pay into the levy contribute 5% of the total apprenticeship cost, and the government will pay the remaining 95%. From January 2020, non-levy employers can access this funding through the apprenticeship service online. First Intuition can support you with guidance on how to register and reserve this funding. Our apprentices will attend professional qualification courses, the First Intuition Impact Skills Programme. They will also have personalised coaching and support towards the 20% off the job training. The professional qualification courses are delivered in classroom or online, depending on the qualification taken. And all the courses include online materials, tutor support, and course and mock exams. Our Impact Skills programme is delivered in centre with online resources and pre and post workshop activities. The programme focuses on the skills and behaviours outlined in the apprenticeship standard, such as communication, collaboration, and leadership. Each apprentice has a dedicated skills coach who will schedule quarterly reviews, report on progression, help prepare apprentices for EPA, and also provide support around welfare and stress. Every apprentice must be given 20% of their time to dedicate to off-the-job training. It's worth noting that the majority of the employers that we work with have no problem in meeting the 20% off-the-job requirement over a typical programme. This is because a large proportion of what the apprentice is doing in the workplace is relevant to their apprenticeship. We have outlined what that looks like in a graph below using Level 7 ICAW as an example. There are 140 days which need to be put towards the 20% off the job training requirement. 101 days are used up with the professional qualification tuition. 10 days are given for the Impact Skills programme they will attend, and 10 days are allocated to maintaining the e-portfolio work over the 3-year programme. This is to be completed within working hours. With all of this taken into account, there are 19 days that the employer must allocate to the 20% off the job training. There are a number of different activities that can be used as evidence for this, and these will vary depending on the workplace and the role of the apprentice. However, as an example, shadowing a colleague who is completing an audit would be a good example of off-the-job training. Secondments would also be a good evidence of off-the-job training. Attending the firm's new starter induction would not, however, be an example of off-the-job training. This is because it cannot be directly mapped back to the learning outcomes of the apprenticeship standard. Some more examples can be seen on the slide. It's very important to acknowledge that providing this time for off-the-job training is part of the employer's obligation. The First Intuition skills coaches will support apprentices and line managers in identifying appropriate activity to evidence this. So now you know what an apprenticeship is and how First Intuition can support your trainees. What are the next steps? If you have an employee you'd like to put on one of First Intuition's apprenticeship schemes, there are a number of steps that will need to be taken. You'll need to contract with First Intuition. Your trainee will need to complete an application, and once complete, First Intuition can determine the eligibility for the programme. If eligibility is confirmed, your trainee will be registered as a student, their courses will be planned and booked. Then they will attend an introduction day where they will learn all about the programme and what to expect. Please get in touch with us via email or telephone to discuss your next steps. Thanks for listening.